And man, how you like that box of peppers? And you know what I just noticed? That box is pretty janky, but there's really, really good advice on the back of it.
Will there be time lapses? Yeah, sure. Maybe a few.
Just working on a whole freaking bucket of carrots here. Let's get it on. Oh, sugar. Fresh, delicious, homegrown food, zero pesticides, zero herbicides, zero chemicals. You know exactly where it came from. And man, that feels good. And it's even better when you freaking eat them because they're tastier than anything you can get in a store, I'll tell you that much.
What's up, YouTube gardeners or aspiring YouTube gardeners? Super stoked to be bringing you the very first organic gardening video on this channel. If you're not coming over from my Instagram and you're new here, and you probably are, I literally just started this channel, you don't yet know that I grow well over 1,000 pounds of organic food on this property every single year, and there's going to be a ton of organic gardening content coming down the pipe on this channel. I'm talking about how-to videos and gardening tutorials, literally from seed starting all the way to harvest videos like this one, and food preservation and cooking, you name it. But for this year, I started the channel super late. I don't have a ton of that for you. That's all coming up next year in 2025. But luckily, I did get the cameras rolling for a few little harvests right at the end of the season when I first started filming for this brand new YouTube channel. And I want to share those with you today. What you're about to watch is 4 separate times I got out into the garden to harvest vegetables, and I jammed all that footage into one video for you. Now, here's my opinion on these longer form videos on YouTube. I watch a lot of them, and here's what I have found. A lot like this footage that you've been watching this whole time of this beautiful slug, right? Beautiful and slug. There's 2 words you never thought maybe you'd hear together. But after observing it for this long, I am starting to find it kind of beautiful, and even if you don't, I think you could admit it's at least super interesting, right? And that's what these long form videos can do. The more time you spend observing a subject, the more you learn about that subject, obviously. And the more time you spend watching a video about a subject you're interested in, the more you learn about that subject. This video is packed full of gardening tips and tricks and information that I've gleaned over years and years of being an organic gardener. And I hope some of that information helps you out in your own garden, and I hope you enjoy the video. Now, I want to give you a really good look at where I live here in Zone 4B in Central Ontario, Canada, where it can be really difficult to grow a garden sometimes. There's as many fails as wins, and I want to show you all of that. It's late September and it's harvest time here in Zone 4B, and there's been some radical changes in what I can and can't grow here in my organic gardens in Zone 4B. I'm talking about climate change. Over the last, I'd say like 5 or 6 years, I'm growing crops well out into October, November, December that I wouldn't have had any chance at all of successfully growing past maybe the 1st or 2nd week of September. So that sucks in a way, but it's also really exciting in a way. So let's get into it. Let's start harvesting. Today, me and the basement boy will be starting out with all these onions. I've got a year's supply of them coming down in this bed here. I've got a bunch down in this bed here in 2 spots, and then a whole bunch up the hill I gotta grab. And then I'm talking about peppers, I'm talking about tomatoes, and all kind of stuff that needs to come off the vine. Look at all these peppers in here intercropped with these onions. There's just tons and tons and tons of them. Don't even really know where to start, man. Look at that. That's crazy. Am I right? But I'm getting sidetracked. Let's get to onions first.
Yeah, time lapses suck, but they are sometimes necessary, even though everybody knows that a time lapse blows.
Those tasty yellow cooking onions are already inside, and now I'm going to start harvesting these guys. These are Walla Walla onions, okay? And I just want to explain something to you before I actually harvest them. So you see this stuff here? If you're not familiar with this plant, this is wild purslane. I love eating this stuff. Get onto my Instagram and check it out. There's a ton of culinary uses for this plant. It's kind of got a nice lemony tart flavor. It's a succulent. It's real juicy and nice. But anyway, I let these things go wild. If you're not coming over from my Instagram, you don't know that I use these things as a living mulch. And you can see with these onions, they're covered in wild purslane, and that's very purposeful. It keeps the hard bacon sun
off of the soil primarily. That's what it's mostly for by design, but it also keeps all the roots of these peppers cool. And it just does a great job. And then I just sort of, grab some whenever I want it, chuck that into salads, put them in omelets, all kind of good things. But I just wanted to show you that wild purslane before I harvest these onions. There's a whole bunch of them right there. There's a whole row. Mulched in, living mulch with wild purslane. And then I've got a whole bunch of red onions, red Genevas in here, if I can even show them to you. Yeah, down in there under all this wild purslane.
Yeah, we're talking about another time lapse here, and you're gonna have to bear with me sometimes just to demonstrate that these things take time. You gotta do a fucking time lapse, and it sucks, man, but it is what it is.
Let me show you those beauties up close. Look at all those green onion tops. I'm gonna get 2 scallions, right? The basement boy loves freaking scallions, right, dude? No, he doesn't care about scallions. Anyway, nice haul. On to the Geneva Reds. But just before I bring these over to the spot where I'm going to start drying them and cutting off all the tops, etc., I want to give you a quick note on onion tops. Every single one of the onions in my garden has been topped, right? I cut off all the leaves and let them grow back. And you can see they're reproducing leaves in just a beautiful way, but I don't have great onion growing conditions here. And since I'm organic, I don't pump them full of nitrogen and all that. This is kind of, a good size one that I get on an average year would be something like that. Maybe a little bigger. I do have some nice big ones as well. But just know that if you do have good conditions, topping your onions is a really great way to get additional growth. Every single one of these leaves makes a new ring. And if they get the right nutrients and they have a good season, every single one of those rings will blow up and just make you a bigger onion. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. I'm not going to be doing a whole bunch of gardening videos on this channel this season. The season is basically over. This season, I'm just showing you the garden. I'm showing you the food production that's happening on the property. And next year, we'll get right into it. But anyway, I got to move here. Now we're moving on to these red Geneva onions. This is a new variety for me. I haven't grown it before, and they didn't actually do that well. Like, some of them are okay. Like, that's a perfectly nice, usable onion right there, but there were lots of them planted all the way up through the bottom of this bed, and I don't think they actually did that well. Part of it is my fault. I've left them too long. I've been so busy that these should have come out of the ground like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, some of them a month ago, and I just haven't had time. I've been on the road teaching, etc. But we're going to get what we can get and then move on to peppers and such. And look at those poor little guys. Almost nothing to that little patch of onions. And I'll give you a few onion growing tips now just for the hell of it. And I'm going to use the shittiest onions I grew all year long to give you those tips. So number one, onions need a ton of light. They got a little shaded out by these peppers. I intercrop a lot. I practice high intensity, no-dig gardening here. And sometimes I get carried away and I did not position these guys well. So probably they didn't get quite enough light. Onions also require a ton of nitrogen if you're using fertilizers, which I don't. If I was using, some kind of synthetic fertilizer or something, I'm pretty sure that thing would be like 4 times the size or whatever. Maybe not 4 times, but 3. So that's worth noting. They also need a lot of attention, man. Onions always get a crop in my garden. Like, I cut off the green tops and let them regrow to make more rings. These guys did get cut, but because of that lack of sunlight, it really didn't work out that well. And onions are just hard, man. That's what you got to know about onions. They're difficult to grow in colder climates, and especially when you're neglecting them the way that I have. I really didn't do a good job on a lot of my onions this year. And just before we move on, I'm going to show you, this is where we're at for onions so far. That's probably almost a year's supply right there, and I have another little patch to get to, but there's some real nice ones in there. I don't want to be totally negative. There's some beautiful cooking onions, some of those Walla Wallas, some of those Elsa Craigs, and I got a whole other variety I got to get to. These are just the sad ones here, but whatever. Anyway, let's talk peppers, man, and let's just take a minute to appreciate the abundance and beauty of these plants before I start harvesting them. There's just tons and tons and tons of peppers in here. We got red peppers. We got beautiful orange coral peppers. Look at these things, man. Gorgeous, am I right? We got purple peppers. These are really delicious, thick-walled purple peppers. That have a kind of a white flesh inside. I've got some Hungarian varieties here. I've got a different Hungarian variety. We've got great big old bell peppers back here. I don't know if you'll be able to see those. I got more red peppers in there. And this is just one of 3 or 4 pepper beds in the garden. But look at these guys, for example, man. I can't wait to start picking these. I'm going to start off with this beautiful lipstick variety. This is an old heirloom pepper. Peppers are best harvested with shears like that, okay? You can pull them off, and I've certainly done it many, many times, but they seem to, it seems to me anyway, last longer when you actually, you know, sort of pull them off and leave a little bit of that stem intact. And obviously, I'm not going to be able to show you every single pepper that I harvest right now or name all the varieties, but know this, I probably have 45 or 50 plants, pepper plants specifically, in this year, and maybe, I don't know, a dozen different varieties of peppers, and here we go.
And yes, these peppers are beautiful, but we're back in the time-lapse territory, and it sucks, my friend. But don't worry, cause I'll show you the basket very soon.
Oh, and the sun just dipped behind the clouds, but hey, how you like them peppers? And these are some of the best ones that I found in that one little zone, but I want to show you, I left these way too long, just like I did with those onions. Look, there's a lot of fails in here. Check this out. So these peppers have gone soft and have already started to ferment and fall off, but here's what I want to let you know. You see this stuff? This is a little grody, but I'll take one for the team, buddy. This is a great seed saving project for next year. Those are already ready to go. So guess what? I got lipstick peppers for next year. I do a lot of seed saving here. It's a big part of the process here is saving homegrown seed. You get amazing germination rates. You know exactly where it came from. It's not treated with any chemical junk, etc. And just a good practice. Now it takes a little extra time, but look at that, man. I've got right there, 20 plants, right? So it's not a loss. I wish I ate that pepper. I didn't get to eat that pepper, but I will make a lot more peppers with it next year. And remember when I was telling you, you know, onions require a lot of attention? That's true for everything in the garden. I've just been so busy this summer. I've been a little neglectful or just not here. Like these guys matured and ripened probably, I don't know, 3 weeks ago when I was on the road. But conversely, you know, these are the exact same variety. These are lipstick peppers right here. Big, beautiful ones too. And they're not ready yet. So I'm going to leave those guys on, pray for sun, and hopefully finish up probably double of what you're seeing out of this little patch into a basket just like that. Maybe in a week or two's time. But now I got to get to harvesting a bunch out of the back there. Give me a second. About halfway through, and look at this helper. Buddy, you are doing an excellent job. I really, really appreciate your help with these peppers. You're a scholar, you're a gentleman, and you're just an all-around swell guy, okay? Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Okay, now we're moving over to another bed, me and the basement boy. And, you know, he's still the best helper ever. Come on, dude. We got to go in the back. We got 2-3 more beds to harvest here. Not that you could tell from this angle out here, but in this bed, I have so many peppers back here, but you know, there's a lot of intercropping and you can't really tell, but check out, for example, these freaking giant Marconis, dude. If I had left that one, it would have turned red, but that's a nice one for my salsa that I'm making tomorrow. Now you can see back in here, there's all kinds that are just finishing. I'm going to leave those on for another, at least a week or so. Hopefully I get some nice sunshine, and there is a lot to forecast. There's actually a bunch left in there as well. But I got more than enough for the salsa that I'm going to be making in the next couple days. So stay tuned. I may make a video with that if I have time. If not, hop over to my Instagram and there'll be some salsa making videos on there. But I'll give you a real quick tally. Check this out. This is like a almost freaking half-pound poblano. We've got some, I don't even know what those are. Anyway, these are great big emerald green bell peppers. I got these just starting to come into fruit. This is a yellow bell pepper. That's just a little runty one, but there's some great big ones that are just starting to turn color. I didn't show you. Got some red bell peppers in here. I got these beautiful purples. I got all these Hungarians in here. These are really good. I love frying these up. They got a little tiny bit of kick, nothing crazy, but they're great in kind of everything. And then I've got a whole bunch of hot peppers I haven't even shown you yet. Let me just come over here and give you a quick look at some of the cayennes I'm growing this year. I didn't do a ton of hot peppers because I grew so many last year. But look at these cayennes, man. There's like about 8 billion in there, ready to come off the plant. I'm going to grab those in the next couple days as well. I'll do more hot peppers next year. I just had so many that I preserved from last year. I didn't need to grow them this year. What I needed was sweet and frying peppers, and I got tons. Now on to potatoes. This whole Ruth Stout bed here should have been pulled, oh God, like probably 3 weeks or a month ago, or maybe even more on this particular one. And then I have another huge Ruth Stout bed over there we'll get to in a minute. But let's just have a real quick look and find a potato or two. There's whirlots in here. Where the hell are they? Anyway, give me a second. Oh, there's one. Ooh, a nice one too. And there she is, all pulled apart, and kind of a disappointing yield. This little bed here, which isn't much more than maybe 4 by 5 or so, I have in the past gotten, you know, pounds and pounds and pounds out of it. This year, look at that. That's not much more than maybe, 5 or 6 pounds, maybe 6 or 7 pounds max. And really disappointing. I don't know what happened, but this bed did not do well. Now, I'll do a lot more videos on this method of gardening. This is called the Ruth Stout method, where you basically are just growing stuff in straw. And I'll give you a quick look underneath what that looks like. This is years and years of just deciduous leaves and straw, but look at how beautiful and rich that soil is under there, just from that decomposition, that fungally dominated decomposition. But yeah, it just didn't work out too good this year, but this is a part of gardening, man. You know, you see a lot of YouTube channels where it's all just great big wins and giant harvests and everything looks perfect. That's not what organic gardening is about, and certainly not organic gardening in the forest. You know, you take what you can get, and it's sort of like a little hit and miss seasonally, depending on the weather we get, etc. But these should have done a lot better. I'm not really sure why, but let's head over now to my big Ruth Stout bed and see what we actually got for an annual potato haul, because this is a little bit disappointing. Just made it over to my other Ruth Stout bed, and I got a couple more notes on these for you. First of all, I didn't show you all the critter munched ones. You can see voles or something were in there. Maybe a chipmunk, a squirrel dug in there. And there was probably a pound of those that got messed up, and I'm sure we'll find more in there. And here's the other thing too, with Ruth Stout gardening, it depends how much attention you're paying to it. These things are made to be sort of like set and forget gardens. You put in what you're putting in. In my case, I do mostly potatoes and these and some other stuff. And then, you know, rain takes care of it. I literally don't even water them. They just sort of do their thing throughout the year. So it's largely dependent on like how much rain we get. If I actually remember in a dry spell to like bring the hose over and soak it, which I didn't do one time this year, etc. So let's find out how many potatoes are inside there. And my sister's actually coming over, who's visiting right now, to give me a hand with this particular bed. So I'm going to put up the drone for you, give you an overhead, and we're going to start pulling that apart.
So here's my feeling on the aerial time lapse. It's still a time lapse. It still sucks, but it's an interesting perspective at least. That's something.
All right, I'll give you a quick look as we peel it back. You can hear the drones flying up over top, but I wanted to show you. It's actually a little bit better than the other bed. There's some nice big fatties in there. You can't tell the scale, but there's a lot of potatoes in here, man. That's much, much better than that other bed. That makes me happy. Right, Rusty? Good boy.
And there's another one of those for you. Enjoy.
And hey, that's a nice little haul of potatoes. I'm much happier to see that particular larger Ruth Stout bed kind of coming up with it for me. You can see she's full over the brim, and with any luck, if I'm careful about my potato consumption, I should have enough to get me through the winter and a bunch to plant in the spring. And hey, how you like that for a final tally in just maybe over an hour, hour and 20 minutes, hour and 15 minutes? That's a lot of food, man. And this is what organic gardening on this scale is all about. It's providing for yourself all year long with this fresh, delicious, homegrown food, zero pesticides, zero herbicides, zero chemicals. You know exactly where it came from. And man, that feels good. And it's even better when you freaking eat them, because they're tastier than anything you can get in a store, I'll tell you that much. And the more I look at it, the more I love this box. Yeah, man, live deliciously. This is how you do it. There's some nice big hogs in there, man. Oh, yeah. And now on to the process of curing and drying. These potatoes are all going to get laid out on racks and dry in a cool, dark place for a couple weeks. All right, let's have a look at the tail of the tape on that giant crate of potatoes there. We'll follow it all the way up. Actually, it's touching a little bit there. It's probably taking a little weight off it. And we got, let's have a look, just about 55 pounds. That's pretty good haul considering the one bed didn't do too good. Just in case you're not coming over from my Instagram and you're new to the program here on the old homestead, and there's many gardeners over on Instagram that have been following along for years, and we share tons of gardening tips, etc. I really hope that happens here in the comments as well. We get a little gardening community here, just like we get a little foraging community here, a little hunting community, a little fishing community. I really hope all that stuff happens here on YouTube as well. But I want to tell you about the goal that I have. My goal is always to grow enough potatoes to have potatoes all winter long, right? And there's 55 pounds of them. It should be plenty. and have enough for seed potatoes the following spring. And I've been doing that with this particular variety for like 7 or 8 years now. I discovered this. These are called Chieftain. This is my favorite potato ever. The skins are so thin, you never even gotta peel them. Not that I really peel potatoes anyway, but they're so thin and so tasty. I have managed to do exactly that, grow enough to eat all winter long and to have seed potatoes for the following spring for my next year's crop. And I hope that continues. I'm a little shy this year. I didn't do a great potato harvest this year, but I'm going to just sort of, I'll be careful with my potato consumption over the winter. Maybe I'll even buy the odd one like a freaking hobo. Boo. But I got to have enough of these left for next year because I love this variety, man. Chieftains. And there's about half of those potatoes all laid out on a great big old rack to dry. And this is a really important step. I'm not going to go into it. Maybe I'll do a whole video on potato drying and curing sometime. But you can tell I'm not too fancy here. This is actually a back rack for the Jeep for extra haul. And, that just fits into the 2-inch receiver on the back of the truck. And, just like you would for a ball. It's great for hauling, but it's also pretty damn good for drying potatoes. I'm just exactly that kind of classy broad, you know what I'm saying? And there's most of the rest of them up on these little racks. This isn't ideal. You see how they're kind of stacked and touching a little bit. The whole idea is airflow here, and I've done it this way many times, and they keep just fine. They'll keep all the way till next spring, but I used to have like a big old screen door that I put across here, and I can't find it. But, welcome to the club. This is how I roll. And unfortunately, that's all the time I have for today. I would love to be harvesting a whole bunch of other stuff. I got beans to come in. I actually have some squashes ready. I've got a ton of tomatoes, but I've already got, 30 or 40 pounds frozen from a couple of weeks ago and maybe another 20 pounds ready to go for salsa. So stay tuned. I'll be making some salsa and I'll be making probably at least 1 or 2 more gardening videos, mostly harvest videos, preservation videos, and, just making delicious homegrown product type videos.
And here's the first time lapse of the second segment, but bear with me, there won't be very many, I promise.
Get out of there, dumbass. I'm trying to make rows for my radishes, bro. What a nice guy. You're the best helper. Do you know you're the best helper? You're the best helper I know. What a good helper.
Dumbass, you're right in my shit, dude. Get out of there. He doesn't care. You're doing a great job, buddy. You're owning it. Killing it. Tasty radishes.
But there will be one right here, because it does take some time to plant seeds and it would take a very long time. So stop complaining about the time lapse.
Okay, tell you what, I won't do the time lapse. You can watch me plant seeds one by one, over and over, and we'll do it this way. I'll do this all day, buddy. You think this bothers me? I did it. That's me in that video right there, planting those seeds. I love doing this shit. I'll do it all day long. Yeah, you want to see the part where I pinch the dirt over top of those seeds in just the right amount, row after row after row, to make sure that they germinate correctly and that everything goes well? Yeah, hey, that's fine by me, buddy. I will show you every last fucking frame of it because this is what it takes. All right? You don't like the time lapses? Let's get into it. Let's get right into it and let's see how things are really done, all right? And while we're at it, let's check out this Milkweed Tussock caterpillar, okay? While we're complaining about things, while we're complaining about time lapses and the pace of things in long videos and such, All right, check out the milkweed tussock moth caterpillar. This thing feeds exclusively on milkweed and dogbane, and you know it procures chemicals that it uses in defenses against predators from those plants. Now we're gonna follow his journey, his beautiful journey over the rocks and through the soil around through my garden in painstaking detail. All right, did you ever think maybe that if things are too long and you can't enjoy nature as it presents itself to you in a timeless and fascinating way, that maybe organic gardening is not for you? Maybe organic gardening is for someone else and not you, because you maybe this channel isn't even for you. Do you ever think of that? Maybe you're on the wrong freaking channel and this is not for you at all.
Look at all these wine cap mushrooms, crazy amounts of them in the garden, and still harvesting them well into late October. And yes, it is nighttime, but I just thought of it. I don't really know why I'm doing this right now. It's just I had time and I'm busy, and it occurred to me that I saw some, I don't know when it was. I think it was yesterday, and they're already twice the size. I gotta get to it. Let's get it on. Oh, sugar. Am I right? You know what I'm talking about. These are like textbook beautiful specimens. Like, you couldn't get a prettier mushroom, really. Ooh, there's a nice little button under there, hiding under there. Beautiful. And look, there's even a few hiding under these kales and lettuces. Beautiful. Guys, what's up? One last little straggler under the lettuce, and I think that's all of them for this bed here. And that right there is a beautiful basket of night mushrooms for the dehydrator. Yeah, I'm not even eating them now. I just thought of it. I had to come out and grab them while I was thinking of it because I'm going away tomorrow. That is a beautiful basket of night shrooms. You ask me. Yeah, I'm gonna jam these in the dehydrator and they'll be done by morning before I gotta go, with any luck. In fact, I'm sure they will be. I have dehydrated millions of mushrooms in that thing, and I know exactly how long it takes. So let's start hacking them up. P.S. I'm still wearing a headlamp for some reason. Not sure why.
And we're back into time lapses, buddy. Do you really need to see every cut of every single mushroom in here? No, you don't, but it's nice to know it happened.
Just start loading up the trays. I'm going to do the buttons. I got a whole bunch of buttons in that basket that I don't think you got to see while I was harvesting, but they're much smaller and tighter, and I want to keep them in a separate little jar to have buttons. Not that these aren't freaking perfect, buddy, but, the buttons are buttons, dude. That's what I'm talking about. A few more of those to go in. Now I'm slicing buttons. Look at these little baby tight little buttons.
And yes, I'm gonna show you round two of the chopping of the mushrooms. It's very nice to see, so suck it.
Perfect tray of little buttons. Look out into the dehydrator. And like I said, those will be done by the morning when I gotta split town. And let's have a quick gander at some of these beautiful seeds that I'm saving for next year's garden, right? And I'm still wearing this headlamp, and I'm still not sure why. Well, frost is upon us, and this is probably the last garden update of the year, guys. It's the beginning of November. Everything's done. They've already been hit with frost a few times. For some plants, that's okay. For others, it's not. And I really today got to get in all my squashes because it's going to be -7 in the morning. All of these beets got to finally come out. That's the second round. Those radishes over there are coming out. I got a bunch of lettuce and things that need to come in. All my last celery, more beets over here. I got a bunch of stuff up the hill that's got to come in. And hey, don't mind the noise. I'm having my driveway redone a little bit because I really got the hell beat out of it in these summer rains. So you'll be hearing a little bit of this as I talk along here. All these beans got to come off. Okay, see these dried beans? Beautiful. Dried on the vine, and then I have to start putting her to bed. So because of the noise, I'm probably not going to be talking a whole bunch, but I'll just show you what I'm doing as I go along. My garlic is going in today. I got a bunch of pruning to do, etc. Give me a minute. We'll get started. Oh man, some of these spaghetti squashes are already dropping. I have to eat that one first. It's probably all bruised up. I know some of these are already kind of frost damaged. I'm gonna have to eat these quick. See all that? That's frost. Not good. Oh shit, I got all these little white onions in here. I grew a ton of nice little white onions back in this bed and totally forgot about them. There's probably, 40 of them in there maybe. Well, dude. Look at this little guy. He grew right into the tomatoes, little crazy guy. These flowering cabbages are one of the prettiest things I grow in the garden every year. Look at that thing, man. I'm still gonna eat that. Lots of time for that one. And this red Russian stuff will go right out into December. A lot of weird little runty ones back here. They don't get great sun back here. It was kind of an experiment in this bed, but you can see the results. I don't think I'll put onions here again. Some decent ones here. Man, they're ain't good though. Woo! They don't want to let go. How is that even possible, buddy? Look at the roots on that onion, man. That's crazy. He was really hanging on. Good job, buddy. Yeah, not a great spot for onions. I don't think I'll put them here again. There really wasn't a lot of light back here. It was kind of an experiment. They all ended up kind of small and runty in this location, but you know, live and learn. That's how you figure out the spots in your garden. I kind of knew this was going to happen, but that's still a few good feeds there. Whatever. Hey, and I even found the tag. Look at that. White sweet Spanish. These should be a lot bigger. Whatever. Next year, I'll put them in a better spot. So look at this. This is kind of crazy. I found some individual cloves off some garlic bulbs that were pulled in the summer, you know, that were planted last year. And I remember a few of them coming off and thought I dug all the individual little bits of cloves that came out as some that were starting to kind of go bad in the ground. But look, they made tops. Those tops are delicious, man. Nothing wrong with that. Those are great on sandwiches and in soups and stuff. I got a bunch of them. Look, there's another one here. I don't know if I'll get the clove out. Oh, look how small that was. That's crazy, man. It's kind of growing out of nothing, but there's a whole bunch of them all in here. Nice. Bonus garlic. Man, it's high noon, and you won't be able to see much because of the sun, but all those beets got to come out now. Shit, hold on. I lost a glove. I got to find the other one. Haha. One glove added onto the one glove added. Oh.
Oh, we're back into the time lapses, buddy, and this time we're talking about beets, and everybody knows that a time lapse blows, but you can see stuff.
So that was disappointing. I had high hopes for these bull's blood beets. There's a few good ones in there, but honestly, most of them turned out really kind of small and runty. I was mainly eating these for leaves all season, and I think it's my soil, man. This spot has traditionally been really, really good. But for those of you who are new here, I practice the no-dig gardening method, and I don't know if I've been doing a good enough job at replenishing the nutrients in my soil. I didn't get a load of manure on this year. I make a ton of homemade compost here, and I'll do lots of videos on composting and all that. If you're interested, you'll let me know. There's a million of them on the internet. But I really didn't get enough last year, and I planted just the same as I normally would, etc. And I didn't make enough compost to feed the entire garden, and I think this particular bed kind of suffered. They had great sun, and they really didn't do good. I have to do some more investigating, figure out what's really going on with my soil in some of these beds that really didn't get like the boost they needed in the spring. Now over here is a mixed bed of a whole bunch of stuff, but there are some beets in it. Some of them are from Home Safe Seed, and look at the size of some of those, man. Like just this guy alone. Oh, look at that. That's from Home Safe Seed. This is the culmination of almost a 3-year project the first year to grow those beets, the second year to let them run to seeds, and then I planted them this spring. And look at the difference between these home saved ones in very similar soil, etc. So we're going to just have to see, but very, very happy to see beets like that, man. That's beautiful. Anyway, all those are coming out along with some golden beets. I've got a few golden varieties in here, and oh, it doesn't look like they did great. I think I've probably eaten all the best, biggest ones already, and I did have a little garden gnome in here just a few days ago, ripping all kind of stuff out of here. And I know she took some beets, so maybe she got all the good ones, but there might be a few good goldens in here. Oh yeah, look at that one. That's a beauty, dude. That's what I'm talking about. These are so sweet and delicious. I don't think I'll have enough for pickling, but that'll be a lot of nice salads, and maybe I'll roast some. I love roasting beets.
And I might even like time lapses of picking beets even more than eating them. So, suck it.
And there's the last of my beets. Little disappointing. There's some really nice ones in there, and then there's some really not so nice ones. But, you know, this is what you want, like that, or bigger. And there's probably, I don't know, a couple dozen of them. But the rest is all leaves. I'll probably do something with those anyway. And, of course, I'll be mulching over these beds a whole lot better than that. But for now, that's good for tonight.
And you see where this is going. I don't even have to do it. Like, there are a ton of repetitive, time-consuming tasks that have to get done in the garden. You gotta pull stakes from old plants. You gotta put those old plants in the compost and start making nutrients and soil for next year. And in my heart of hearts, I think you know that you need to see this.
Hey, look at this little sumbitch. I forgot about this little cayenne plant. I didn't harvest this one. There was a few of them here. And look at all those. There's got to be like 20 good peppers on there, man. Already mostly dried out on the vine. That's actually still alive. I could pot that up and keep it alive all winter in a window or something, but I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm just gonna pull the whole thing, get the peppers, make something tasty out of them. I can't believe this little guy survived. We've had like multiple frosts. There's a ton of peppers on that. Look at that. That's beautiful. Just add them to the hole. And I want to show you these big, beautiful Romanesco cauliflowers. These are some of the biggest brassicas that I've ever grown. I think this is the third season in a row that I've tried them, and I can never get them to head up. This one here is just about there. That's about as close as I've got to a good head on a Romanesco. I think I'll try one more time maybe next year, but generally this is sort of what I get. A lot of nice greens to eat, but no head. This is what I want. I actually just went and pulled out the seed packet to show you what that head is supposed to look like. I've never got it that far, but it's like an ongoing challenge. I will try it for fourth year next year. I'm getting good Romanesco, and that's pretty close, you know. I think this needs so much more time than I can give them. Close, but no cigar. Just working on a whole freaking bucket of carrots here. Look at those beauties. Another giant pile of beets and some really good ones in there. These are those ones from Home Safe Seed as well. They're just doing better. Got a bunch of black nebula carrots in here. I don't know how these did. It's the first time I've ever tried to grow them in containers, but this is a really beautiful black variety. And I didn't grow many of them this year. And hey, check out this development. I actually thought these were toxic lookalikes of this mushroom. This is Hypholoma lateridium. These are brick cap mushrooms, but I thought they were capnoides or maybe Hypholoma fasciculari, or the smoky gill hypholoma, which are really actually quite toxic. This particular mushroom is edible, and the reason I was worried about it growing in these little radishes here is because it's growing right next to where I have been growing wine caps in my strawberry patch and in these tomatoes all year long, and they do resemble each other, but I think I got lucky on this one. I'm gonna eat those little shits tonight. And check it out, there's a whole ton of them growing up under these rocks. Look at them all smooshed in there. That's crazy. Haha, they could use a little cleanup on aisle 7, but there's some good eaters right there. And haha, look at this. I found a perfectly viable green pepper and a cuke even after like multiple frosts. That is very surprising. That's awesome. Cucumber salad tonight. And there's a bunch of those crazy African black nebula carrots there. Add to the pile. And new gardeners, I got a really good tip for you. Leave your carrots out till there's a few frosts. At least they really do tend to sweeten up. Once the frost hits them a few times, these carrots are gonna be amazing. And the sun is setting on the last of these celeries. Some beautiful pink plume right there. That one's gotta go, right? There's one kind of scrubby looking tall Utah. Oh my God, it smells so good when you cut it. Like that might be the best smell in the garden, I swear to God. Ah, it's so good. There's a couple more. Oh, just the one. Tasty. I got a few more celeries in this bed here. Well, that's a huge pink plume. New variety. Oh yeah, man. Look at the size of that one, man. Nice. Look at all this celery. That's crazy. That's a lot of celery, man. And I've already eaten so much celery, and these are kind of just like the runty ones from the end of the season, but man, they look good. Man, I lost over an hour there. I had to go help Dave with the driveway a little bit, do a little bit of shoveling.
And now I got to get that garlic in. The ground is going to be frozen solid in the morning. So I got to double time it. Sunset is literally right over the trees right now. But just before I do, I want to show you all this pak choi seed. I let that dry out on the plant, and I got tons of pak choi for next year. And I got a very short amount of time to start clearing space and getting these beds ready for this garlic. I think I have like 40 minutes.
Yup. Let's clear it up. We gotta make room for this garlic.
One cleared and a couple more to go. We put some garlic back in here. You can see it needs a little work. This is hilarious. You can't even see there's a bed here. And oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to deal with all these watering systems tonight too. These lines are all gonna freeze in the morning. Shit. Okay, magic. There's a freaking garden bed in there. Can you believe it? All right. Start pulling stuff. Miner's lettuce. Get that anywhere. You don't want my garlic. Okay, buddy? Good. All right, we're finally getting down to the moment of truth. In here, I've got, I don't know, over 110 cloves of mostly homegrown garlic. The big bad boys like this, these are music. These are the cultivar that I've been growing for years, and I saved the biggest, baddest ones to put in the ground for next year, as one does, right? And then there's some that didn't turn out great, that were in bad spots, that didn't get great sun. So I might not plant all these little runty ones, but it'll still make a garlic plant nonetheless. Garlic is garlic. This is obviously much better. And then there's somewhere, in here, I don't know how I'd be able to identify it, but somewhere in there, there is some store-bought garlic, okay? I supplemented, just to have a little bit more over the winter of my homegrown garlic, my really good stuff. I supplemented with a few cloves of organic garlic from the grocery store. And yes, that's a thing you can do. Don't let anybody tell you different. As long as you're not buying that like chemical garbage from China, all right? Like, don't buy Chinese garlic just to start out with. It's not like a nationalist thing or something like that. It's just not good garlic. It's not grown in good stuff. I've read study after study on this stuff and all the chemicals that are used, etc. And the same can be said for a lot of North American grown garlic too, if it's not organic. But if you're getting organic and it hasn't been hit with a sprout inhibitor and a whole bunch of chemicals, you can throw it right in the soil. So yeah, just had to rock the cheat code a little bit, but I'm running out of time. I'm going to throw this up on time lapse, and we're putting garlic in the ground. The sun is already below the trees.
And finally, the moment of truth, the garlic is going into the soil. As you can see, this feels much more like an inspirational background music type moment, so that's what I'm gonna do instead of a goofy time-lapse song. Enjoy. And that's a lot of freaking garlic in one bed, man. That's awesome. And look at the basement boy helping. He's the best helper. And he's still helping. Look at him, he's back. He's doing an amazing job. And now I'm just covering those puppies up. Beautiful. Keep them snug as bugs and rugs for the whole winter.
All right, and there's 115 of them in. That's pretty good. Mulched over good enough for tonight. I'll do that better later, but now we got to run back down to the hill, that other spot, and get the remaining garlic in. I think I've got another, maybe 20 or 30 to get in. Really losing light. All right, let's do it. All right, not bad. 140 cloves in. That's going to give me a lot of garlic for next year. Now all I got to do is really quickly pull all these hoses that are going to freeze overnight and get my watering systems out, including my timer. I'll show you this system much better next year, but since I'm just starting this channel, here's what you need to know. There's 4 of these in here with great big long lines all over the garden that can water for me on a timer when I'm not around or when there's not rain, and they need to. Now I just got to find them. There's 1. Yeah, and there's number 2. Up in here, that does zone 1. That guy's got to come out. I've got a sprinkler up here in zone number 3 right there. Let me zoom in on it for you. See here? And then I've got another one here for zone 4 that you already saw. I think it was, it's in this potato bed, which has no potatoes in it anymore. but all these lines got to come out. And here's the brains of the whole watering operation. That right there is a 4-way splitter. Each one of these can be programmed separately and timed in specific ways, etc. But again, I'll show you all that next year. For now, I just got to get them out because they're going to freeze solid tomorrow morning. And who knows if I could get them back after that. It's just, I got to pull this timer in for sure tonight so I don't damage it. And then try and get all these hoses and sprinklers in. 6:42. Oh yeah, we're past even shooting light right now. I should be out duck hunting. God damn it. All right, beautiful. That's getting drained and coming indoors till springtime. Done. She's free. All right, we're 75% done sprinklers, and I can start seeing my breath already. You see that? Not good. Okay, we're going up to here to zone 1. There she is. Okay, there's 1. I think there's only 2 in here. That's pretty good. Come on, little homie. There you go. She's free. Aerial watering system. Check. Already started pulling these hoses down. There's tons of them, and I will get to that. Right now, I'm just going to start yanking them and draining them. I might not even have time to drain them. What I think I'm going to do is just throw them in my dingy basement and deal with it tomorrow. Haha, look at that. All 4 of them down in the dingy murder basement. Largely drained already. I'll blow them out with the compressor at some point, but they're good for tonight. And now that all that's left to do is cover a few cold hardy species that I'm leaving out here, you know, that can take a frost, but not -7. They will if I put this cover on them. For example, all these little beet greens are going to get covered. All these beautiful oak leaf lettuces, and even some of this kale, like this red Russian will take it, but I've got some other varieties of kale out in here and these radishes and stuff that just will not take -7. But, you know, I might be able to get them through the night with something like that. Oops, almost forgot one in zone 2. That's all of them. And that's all she wrote, folks. There's the very first organic gardening video on this channel. I'm glad I slipped one in. I didn't even plan on doing any this year because I started the channel so late. I hope you enjoyed that. It was a little long, it was a little weird, but there was a lot of good gardening tips in there, and I had a lot of fun making it. You're going to see all these beautiful vegetables in upcoming cooking videos. I got fishing videos, ice fishing videos coming up. We got hunting, fishing, foraging, organic gardening videos out the wazoo. Subscribe, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you for watching. Cheers.